Tapu, Assalamu alaikum, Namaste, Harun Nefer. This is Kasank Ma Keparu with another video for you. And in this video, we're going to talk about how to use dreams to manipulate reality. But of course, before I do that, I want you to hit the like button on this video. If this is your first time to my channel, hit the subscribe button to get notifications on when I go live or when I upload recorded videos. And we also have free ebooks. So if you're interested in expanding your knowledge of the esoteric and the spiritual, click on the links below. You can download those ebooks right away and start reading. And if you're not already a supporter of ours on Patreon, please consider doing so. You'll have exclusive access to many different instructional videos that'll take your journey into the spiritual further. So we have videos on there about how to work with oracles, how to invoke different deities or spirits, hypnotism videos where you can self-hypnotize yourself to really almost about anything, to attract wealth, to get rid of negative habits, or stop smoking, or attract the mate of your dreams. So you can become a Patreon supporter for as little as $1, $5, $20 a month. It's up to you, and you can cancel at any time. Lastly, this is important because YouTube does not want this information out there, so they're always changing their algorithms. Share this video with family and friends so we can get this revolution started. Okay, let's talk about this. Very interesting subject here is, before I do that, something I wanted to share with you guys. I got this as a present from someone, and it came in. It's really nice. And this is Isis Osset, and she looks like she's ready to throw down, like do some work. So it's a really beautiful statue of hers. So this is going to go on my altar. All right. Osset Isis, and she was the inspiration for Mother Mary from the Bible. But that's a different story. Now, let's go into the world of dreams. Now, when we talk about manipulating reality, what we're looking at here is to basically change your core vibrational frequency, because really you go through life exhibiting different emotions, and those emotions are nothing but frequency, math. And anytime you change your frequency, you're aligning it to a different reality. People say, well, how do you quantum leap? How do you get to a parallel world where the things that you want exist? Easy. Change your emotions. But before getting to that point, what is the prerequisite to changing your emotions? Your emotions are basically tied to your belief system, because in order for you to have it, or in order for you to emote, you first have to have a feeling or an idea behind that to express the feeling. So in other words, if I told you that this cup of tea tastes wazit, and I say, wow, it's so wazit, you would know how to really qualify that, because you don't know what wazit is. Is that bad? Is that good? So you basically indifferent to it. You would have no emotional reaction to it. But when I tell you that wazit means the shit, the shiznik, then it changes everything. Now, with that belief system in mind, firmly planted, you can now emote. You can have an emotional reaction to it. And emotional reaction is a vibratory frequency that will align you to a certain reality, a certain world where the wazit is a common language in the lexicon, if that makes sense to you. You understand? So we have to think about that first. All right. And we know that through what I teach, that an emotion that you exhibit creates a state of mind, a state. And we know that state is transferable. So we're saying that the state of mind, or the state that you're in, really is an emotional state. That emotional state is transferable. So in other words, if I want to manipulate someone through a process of hypnosis or trance, and I want them to be, because this is a part of therapy. Hypnotherapy is very therapeutic. If you, for example, if you're dealing with somebody who's dealing with a lot of grief, and you want them to feel a little bit more positive, a little bit more happy, in order for you to get them to that point, you first have to be there. So you have to be in a very jovial mood. And then because that you are emitting that energy, that frequency, then it's going to transfer over to the person and they will start to resonate at that same frequency. Same thing as when we're looking at different realities, which is an infinite number of realities. You're merely just trying to decode what is the mathematical frequency for me having $1 million. Can I change my vibration to match that reality where I have that money? Yes, you can. You just have to change your belief system to work on that. It's that easy. And the reason why it's that easy, people say, oh, no, it's a little more complicated than that because I really focus on it and I don't see reality changing. No, reality is changing. It is not changing enough for you to perceive it. That is because most often the vibratory frequency that we are resonating at is close to what we already believe. This is how people reinforce their own belief system. So in order for you to see that bigger difference, you've got to have a powerful change within yourself. And then that reality on the external 4D realm will change and you will notice it. You can't help but notice it. And the fact of the matter is, to be real, you're creating reality every microsecond. Because you would not be having the experience you are having if you were not creating reality, because this reality cannot exist apart from you. It responds to the observer. You see, one thing that you'll need to understand very clearly is that reality, and this is not 100% accurate, but I have to put it in a way that can facilitate our dialogue here so that you can have a baseline of which to understand it. Because if I start really getting deep into it, it'll go right over your head. Let me put it to you this way. Your intelligence of who you are as God man, God woman supersedes you. Let me explain this. Scientists look at evolution as a linear progression from a very primitive state to what we have now as Homo sapiens, right? Or humankind. We know that every living creature adapts to its environment. So if a frog is living in a colder climate, it will have thicker skin. If it suddenly changes to a warmer climate, its skin will be thin, it'll get thinner. That is nature's way of ensuring survival, adaptation, not evolution, because evolution is independent of the environment. So when we look at adaptation and we say that before humankind coming into existence, there had to be an intelligence already at work to take the creatures in the waters of Nun, primeval waters of Nun, to have them come out of the water to be land creatures, to adapt to the land. There had to be an intelligence at work to help foster that adaptation. That intelligence is you, who you are. And then you called yourself into being. You said, I need a vehicle by which to house my consciousness so that I may have a fourth dimensional experience. So therefore, you took these creatures, you had them adapt to the environment so that it could bring forth man and womankind. Now, with that in mind, we know that your existence did not start when life on this planet began. Your existence superseded that because you were an intelligence long before the earth was even formed. Because the earth is an ecosystem. and everything must be in harmony with each other so nothing encroaches upon the other. There has to be a harmonious existence of all creatures. What intelligence ensures that? That is you. You said that I'm going to create the environment, the ecology, and we're going to call it Earth or Gaia or Geb, where I will exist in that environment. And there will be an interdependence and interrelationship between all things in that environment so that it could be harmonious. Now you have those people who talked about, oh, well, we're polluting the oceans, and then we're causing the ozone to become thinner, and so this is a real problem. Well, if let's look at something this way. We know that the earth is intelligent. So if humankind steps out of its bounds and starts to do things that will harm the planet, through the process of adaptation, the earth will cause us to phase out so that humanity will die out. And what comes after that is depending on what the intelligence wants to come after that. But what I'm saying here is that you are not the physical body. You are not this thing that appears to you in the fourth dimensional realm. You superseded that. You had no beginning and you have no end. So let's get that straight. So the scientists ask, how old is mankind or humankind? Well, we think about 100,000 years old. No, you have no beginning. You were here before the existence of the universe, because you had to call the universe into being so that you could create the planets and the solar systems. All right, with that firmly cemented in mind, I want to talk about a non-traditional way that we're used to manipulating reality, because I think I've basically left you with a very firm foundation in terms of how to manifest the things in your life that you want and desire. And if you still feel like you're missing some tidbits here and there, go back and watch my videos. But for this particular session, we're going to talk about a powerful tool that can be used to do so many things, one of which is to manipulate reality. A number of years ago, I was trying to get financing. Well, I won't say financing. I was trying to break into Hollywood as a director. I was really passionate about it. And I was in priesthood at the time. So I said, I'm going to do a ritual. And it's going to be the most powerful ritual I've ever done. And when it's done, I want to see verifiable proof that magic really works. So I did the ritual. And then I had a dream. And the dream was, I believe it was a camera or something that came to me. And I asked, in dreams, you have weird dreams where you'll be sitting down and talking to a camel and you won't think twice about it. So I asked the camera, who are you? And he said back to me, I am that I am. And it was a very profound dream. And directly after that, I got a call out of the blue from Walt Disney. Walt Disney says, hey, we just saw your last film. We like that film. Would you fly out here and pitch us your next project? I was elated. I was like, hell yeah, I'll do it. So I gathered myself and the head of another production studio who helped produce my last film, because we were going to do a co-venture with Disney. And we all flew out there and we did the pitch. But I want to talk about how I made that happen. Because you see, if you know anything about the film industry, to get a meeting with the Disney executives when you're almost a nobody is a Herculean feat. But with magic, anything's possible. So let me go deeper into the story. So consequently, Disney had a lot of problems, one of which was, you know, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but just say that um, they were not accustomed to marketing urban films. All right. And that caused them to pass on it. So I was depressed and I was upset because, we were working closely with Disney, we were getting phone calls, we were doing the budget, and, we were really gearing up for this to happen, go into production. And then I get that call. And I said, well, what happened? They said, well, we ran this by the marketing and accounting department. And, and to be honest with you, up until that point, Disney had never did a film by a urban director, put it you that way. So when I went to the high priest and he saw how down and depressed I was, and he was like, what's wrong? I said, well, this deal didn't work out. It's heartbreaking, you know. I mean, Disney was asking me, like, who do you want in the film? I said, Will Smith. They were like, okay, we can make that happen. And I believe this is right after Will Smith did that Western film. I forgot, the Wild Wild West. So, but consequently after that, New Line Cinema called me and wanted me to pitch with them. But I remember going to the priest and the high priest, and I was like, I'm really depressed over this. I don't know what to do. He says, yes, you do. You know what to do. I said, no, I don't know what to do. He says, you made that deal happen through magic, right? I said, yeah. He says, well, you still have magic. You're still a magician, right? I go, yeah. He says, well, do another ritual and make something else happen. And at that moment, he put it in perspective that when you have magic, that's something no one can ever take away from you. The only thing that was a bit daunting for me was that I put a lot of energy into that. When you're really doing a powerful ritual, it depletes you of your chi force. So I said, okay, I got to recover for about 6 months to a year, and then I will do another ritual. It took me about a year or two to recover because I was so just depleted with the energy. But I did recover and I did do another ritual. But what I want to relate to you, my Magi's, is how I did that and how I continue to work different miracles in my life because I'm witness to all of these miracles. And as one of my guru teachers said, we're all cut from the same cloth. I'm no better than you. So I want you guys to understand that. You may think, oh, well, Kasank's had the years of experience. He's read all these occult books and he studied in these temples. I'll never be able to produce the results that he gets. Yes, you can. You can do it and more because what I'm teaching you is not complicated. It doesn't have to, you don't have to be initiated into the Golden Dawn. You know what I mean? Aleister Crowley's Secret Circle. You don't have to read the tablets of Hermes. You don't have to read the Book of the Dead or the Book of Coming Forth by Day and by Night, the Purim Haru. Okay. Now there are these techniques are actually so natural that many of you probably use them and you don't even realize it. And they probably do extraordinary things in your life, but you're not trained to see it. I had a cousin of mine, and I was kind of breaking down to her how Hollywood is manipulating your mind to accept emasculated male images. And she was like, well, how is that possible? That's not possible. That's not true. They're just writing characters to write characters. There's nothing really manipulative behind it. So I kind of broke it down and I said to her, well, do you know about the Fibonacci sequence? The Fibonacci sequence is present in flowers. It's present in plants, trees, galaxies. Now, people are like, what is that? What is that? That's exactly the point. If you don't know what to look for, you won't see it. You won't know how to read the patterns. So it's very important that when you're doing this technique that you are aware and awake so that you can see the signs. Because you're dealing with, and this ties back to what I was originally talking about, how you superseded yourself, your physical self. You're dealing with a precognitive sentient intelligence. Let me say that again, a precognitive sentient intelligence. What that means is that it's an intelligence that exists and it interacts with you. And it's really you. That's all it is. But it supersedes you in the sense that it's doing things ahead of your awareness or knowledge. And it's very much interactive and dynamic. But again, if you don't know what to look for, you won't see what it's doing. In other words, people will say, well, bad luck happens in threes. No, that's you causing those things to happen. That's reality responding back to you. If you were to have the belief system that bad things happens in fours, then that precognitive sentient intelligence would make things happen in fours. Now, modern scientists have tried to verify the existence of this intelligence, but they can't. Because science, Western science, really goes by measurable results and repeated experiments. If they can't duplicate something or and have it repeat, then they don't consider it something that is valid. But you have to understand, it is an intelligence that responds to the observer. In other words, when they did the particle experiments to see if it was a particle or a wave, it really changed according to their expectations. You know what I mean? They were looking for an absolute or objective truth. And there was no objective truth. It was always subjective. It was responding to their beliefs. It would change according to what they thought they wanted to see. And that's how reality works. If you go in with the expectation tomorrow that your boss will be super sweet, nice to you, then that intelligence will construct it so that that's exactly the experience you will have. If you come home and you say, oh, my wife's going to be a bitch today, or my husband's going to be difficult today, that intelligence within you will construct the environment so that that happens. Now, you may say, well, Kasank, if I hold those belief systems, as you say, it doesn't always happen. I don't always see it. That is correct. Because again, as I said, your belief systems change. And there are times when the spirit is an impressionable. It's impressionable. What do I mean by that? That means that the subconscious mind is open and ready to receive commands to manifest a particular reality. You see, you're not always open and receptive to getting programmed. If you were, everything would be changing in front of you. There are specific conditions, such as being very tired or going through sleep deprivation, where your spirit is open and receptive to post-hypnotic suggestions. And there are other times when you're more in a waking state, left brain, to where you're not going to be receiving any information to be programmed. But when those key moments, and I'll do a video on this another time, those key moments when you are open and receptive to get programmed is when, if you communicate with the subconscious mind correctly, it will manifest the reality that you want. How do you program it correctly? It does not respond to verbal commands. It responds to emotions. It responds to visual images, symbols. So if you're walking around going, I'm going to find $50,000, I'm going to find $50,000. Many of us don't understand how magic works, and therefore we teach the wrong thing. So you have gurus out there who'll tell you to repeat this as a mantra over and over again. I'll find $50,000. I'll find $50,000. Well, the reason you're repeating it over again is to put the left brain to sleep, so the right brain can become open and receptive to programming. But when you're repeating that, I will find $50,000, you lull the left brain to sleep, and now the right brain is open and ready to receive the information, and you're not programming it correctly because you're just trying to give it a verbal command, and it doesn't understand that verbal command. It can only understand the symbols, the images. This is why people create the vision board. They put a picture up there of a car or a horse or whatever they want, donkey, and they look at that, and that's how the spirit becomes programmed. If the conditions are right within their body, meaning that they're more right brain than left brain, more in the theta state. But see, now science comes along and you're in the waking state and you're repeating, I'll get $50,000, and it doesn't work. So science says, see, the magic and the esoteric is mumbo jumbo. Science is king, because they don't understand how this thing works. When in African culture, they were beating the drums. That was very important because the beating the drums put the left brain to sleep and activated the right brain. And then the dance and the music was the way to communicate to the spirit. Because when you started dancing to the music and dancing to the drums and you held an image in your mind, that's a powerful programming tool. A powerful program. That's why the rappers of today don't realize it, but they're magicians. But they're using it in the wrong way. So nothing of good manifests. You see? So the approach to manipulating reality from our dreams is going to go like this. And there's another subset which entails what we call as lucid dreaming. And we're not going to get into that. It's kind of different. And then there's also astral projection. And we're not going to get into that because that's kind of different as well. Good techniques, but they're not for manipulating reality. Not directly. So there's two techniques in this. The first technique is very simple. I'm going to give you the simple one first. Whatever it is that you are passionate about, and Bashar tells us, what is your highest excitement? Try to focus most of all on what excites you the most, what gets you going. If you feel it, then that's what you want. When I was thinking about my film career, I wanted that with such a passion. I dreamed of a film camera. And really, the film camera was a symbol. Who was talking to me? It was God. I am that I am. That was God. And who is God? God was me. Me talking to me, precognitive, sentient intelligence. My own intelligence talking back to me. That intelligence was Jehute, a thought. And all it was saying was, message received, right brain programmed. Look for what you want to materialize. That's all it was saying. Simple as that. So what you need to do is focus on what excites you the most passionate about. And then what you're going to do is when you go to sleep, dwell on that imagery, that thought, that idea of you having the very thing that you want. And allow yourself to fall asleep with that desire burning in your heart for the thing. And the next morning, you're going to wake up. Now, sometimes we don't remember our dreams, and sometimes we do. The key that you want to do is to repeat this until you can remember your dream. But not only that, more importantly, did your dream have the thing that you desire within the dream, within the story narrative of a dream? Was it in there? If it was, there's a good chance of it manifesting. Now you got to pay attention because it could be in your dream, but in a very negative way. So you've got to, when you come out of that dream state and you wake up in the morning, really examine and take an audit of how you felt. Was it positive? If you feel good about it, if it was positive, and you can replay it and analyzed it and it was still positive, there's a likelihood of it coming to fruition. However, if you dreamed about it, and this sometimes happens, as if you can't obtain it, maybe you reach for it and it runs away from you, that's an indication that it's out of your reach. It's not going to happen. And more likely than not, it's really about your belief system, that you don't really believe that you can get it. That's why you're having that type of dream. But if you dream that you've got it, or it's in near your proximity, like the camera standing before me talking to me, that's an indication that it's coming to you. Now let's take this further, okay? Let's go on to step 2. We're going to supercharge this sucker. What I'd like to do, if I'm working on something I'm passionate about, I'd like to read about it. I like to look at images about it, watch movies about it, if there are movies about it, and preoccupy my mind with it as much as possible, as much as possible, and then fall asleep with that in mind. Because if you have saturated your day with that image, it should roll over into your dream. And you just follow the process of step 1. Take an audit of the dream. Was that thing obtainable in your dream, or did it run away from you, or was it out of your reach? Next thing you want to do, and this is very powerful. Prior to going to sleep, do a mini ritual. Not a full-blown ritual, a mini ritual. What is a mini ritual? Well, a mini ritual is I burn incense and I'll put oils on my body or on the tip of my nose, on my third eye, and then I'll meditate. But this is the important thing. Have a symbol of the thing you want on your altar, your table, before you. And let that be the last thing that you look at before you turn in for the night. All the while, burning the incense, putting the oil on. And I also do some other things, like I have magic powders that I'll put all over my body. I have magic powders for that. You need to ignite the 5 senses. Ignite them. So that smell is going to be very important. It has to be strong, a strong sense. That meditation, that visualization has to be strong based on the image. What I like to do is I place the image there, I'll stare at it for a while, and I'll do my meditation. So I take it into my meditation, and then I go right to sleep. And while I'm lying there, because there's a period between when you're awake and you start to fall asleep, I just go over the scenario in my head of me obtaining, me having the thing. Sorry, let me clarify. Don't visualize you trying to obtain it. Visualize you as having it, okay? And let yourself fall asleep with that. Now, the important thing is with the incense is that what communicates to the right brain and the spirit is smells, sounds, tactile, touch, that awakens the senses, that awakens the right brain, and it makes it more real. Now, if you want to really get advanced, you're going to chant a mantra before going to sleep. Or you can chant the mantra as you drift off into sleep. And the mantra has to be a specific mantra that's designed to attract the very thing that you desire. Remember, you can't just have any old thing you want. This does not work for that. It has to be a burning, passionate desire. Let me tell you something. Let me keep this real. What I'm telling you here is powerful. If you do this right, nothing is out of your reach. Nothing. As long as you have a burning desire to have it, it'll be yours. There's just one condition. One condition. Magi, tell me what the condition is. Please put it in the chat room. Tell me what the condition is. One condition. This is a guaranteed thing to work. If you're interested in the magic powders that will speed this process up, just send me an email, and I'll put my email in here, and I will send you to the right place where you can purchase the magic powder. Now, I want you to understand something. I don't play games. I do real stuff here. All right? What do I mean by that? You'll go to a magic supply store and you'll say, I'm trying to manifest $10,000. And they'll say, oh, here you go. This powder is for attracting money. That's bullshit. I don't do that. See, when I work with powders, oils, mantras, spells, I do a reading first to make sure it's going to work. Because magic is not a one size fits all. If it were, you can bottle that sucker and make $1 million. If the magic powder worked for everybody, it will be a hot seller. But it doesn't work for everybody. So don't just go out there and buy something because it says it attracts money, or buy an incense because it says it attracts love. Do your reading. You go, Nectar, please comment on, will this incense, jasmine, attract the love I'm looking for? And the oracle will tell you, yes, purchase that jasmine, or no, don't purchase that jasmine. If it tells you not to purchase the jasmine, then you move on to the next incense, which is pine. You say, does this pine allow me to attract the love of my life? And the oracle says, yes, get the pine. There you go. Hey, Jay, that's a good one, but automatically you will forget about it when you fall asleep. You will forget about it when you fall asleep. The one thing that you have to give it is time. It needs time to manifest in this fourth dimensional plane. This is why you become observant and awake and look for the signs. And those signs can be very eerie, like someone coming up to you, hey, do you know there's this pool going on? And if you just purchase a ticket for $1, there's a possibility of winning $10,000. There's your sign. Go get that ticket. Okay? That's it. That's so simple, but yet so very powerful. Now, there's other little things that you can tweak here and there to make it really powerful. Like I said, you can get the right magic powder, you can get the right mantra. Yes, that will help, but I've given you enough to start and to really get you going. See, and I say this over and over again, I sound like a broken record, but we are endowed with just wonderful powers that we don't use. Isn't it Jesus said, what I can do, you can do even more? We don't recognize how powerful we are. We become lazy. We become brainwashed to believe what society has told us, that we're children, that we're sinful creatures. You are much, much more than that. As I said, you brought yourself into being. You existed before the physical body or representation of you was here. All right, I think I'm back now. Sorry about that. We had a little power outage. Wasn't that weird? So let me know if you Magi's are still with me here. All right. So that's basically the technique. Now, again, I have to emphasize, always go for your highest excitement. If it's not really moving your spirit, then it's not worth doing, because this does take some work. And I would say do this for at least 7 days. And if you don't see anything in your dreams in relation to the thing that you desire, then keep doing it until it comes up in your dreams. And then you know you've hit gold. Okay? And like anything with magic, it's about trial and error. What works for me probably won't work for you, because we're built differently in terms of belief systems. One of the prerequisites that I talked about before of manipulating reality is, first, the core belief is you must understand that everything is an illusion. It's Maya. If you can believe that to the core of your being, you've got half the battle. Because now you have a basis from which to start, because you understand that you're God man, God woman, that you can manipulate the 4D world around you. But if you've been so brainwashed to where it's cemented in your head that there is an objective world and that there's an objective reality, then you're going to have a hard time manipulating it, because you've drank the Kool-Aid. So think about that. Now, I gave you an example, I think, of a couple of times in the videos I've done before, about how one day I was walking down the street. I fell down. Very embarrassing. I got up. I looked to see if anybody saw me. I said, what am I embarrassed about? These people don't really exist. They're just avatars. They're not real. How can I feel embarrassed? So, my beloved, that's it. You have any questions? I've sent you my email address. Feel free to correspond with me if you have more questions or follow up on that. I love hearing from you guys and helping you fine tune this. And one thing that's important to keep in mind is that we do have, which is going on, the reality manifestation course, which is really cool. And that really takes you down the rabbit hole. We get really deep into different techniques of manipulating reality. So check out that course at engineeryourreality.com. A lot of good stuff there, a lot of great stuff going on. And take this thing to the next level, man. With this knowledge, there's really nothing you can't do, you know? Nikki, what's your question? I'm sorry. It don't work well on people. What's that? Actually, let me know. Can you clarify that? Because it actually works really nice. For example, if you're trying to get a certain person to be at a certain place. So this is another thing we can bring into this. I was using this a lot with networking, because there were certain producers and executives I wanted to meet, and I would just take into my dreams of me seeing myself bump into them. And it worked wonderfully. And I met a lot of very important, powerful people that way. But these individuals, it's got to be something really big, you know, like, oh, this person could really make my career or take me to the next level in my field. Because again, it's about your burning desire. It's about your highest excitement. So if that person really is important, it can really help you, then that's the engine that will help it to manifest in your life. Yeah, Nikki, absolutely, absolutely,
Absolutely. You can manifest a mate for yourself. Like I said, you can manifest. I had guys come to me and they wanted to know how to manifest a record executive because they wanted to get a deal. The problem is, yeah, you can manifest the meeting with the record executive, but if your talent, if your mixtape sucks, then that's not Magic's responsibility. you need to work on your talent, but it works beautifully in those areas. That's like I said, manifesting a mate, setting up. Like I tell people this. Look, this is what I used to tell people. I was a little bit cocky back then, but they were like, "Oh, you can't meet that person. They're hard to get a hold of." This is when I was trying to get a literary agent. Check this one out. I was like, "I'll make it happen," and they were like, "Well, how are you gonna make it happen?" And do you know who I got? I got the top agent in Hollywood, CAA, Creative Arts Agency, the top. And what came out of that? I was writing for TV shows like what's it called, The Fifth Rock from the Sun or something like that, and Frasier. And so this is how you do it. See, we're magicians, man. This is how we do it. This is how we roll. We make stuff happen. We don't wait. Tina, I did a really great video on money, on manifesting money. It's on Patreon. So if you're not a supporter, become a supporter. There's a great video up there about how to manifest money. And there's some rules around that. Like you have to be very careful because in certain cases, when you manifest a lot of money and you don't do it the right way, you'll manifest a lot of bills. So that money will just go into paying off all those bills, Like you may manifest $200,000, but you start one day driving and hit somebody and then they sue you for $200,000. And I'm not kidding you, that's how it works. So there's certain rules you have to abide by or it's easy come, easy go. But the video on Patreon shows you step by step about how to actually materialize money. I really get deep into that about making it materialize right before your eyes. All right. Thank you, Magi, for tuning in. I know this was a late broadcast. I'm so busy lately that I have to sometimes change the times, but I'm thankful that you guys are sticking with me and you show up late to hear me talk. But it's all to your benefit because you'll be blessed from this knowledge as I have been blessed. And I'm just sharing that. One of the things that I did with the oracles, and I was telling a friend about this today, is when I didn't get that first deal, I went to the oracle and said, "What happened?" And God said, "Listen, I need you to teach magic, not be a filmmaker right now. I need you to bring magic back to the world, to be a seer, to make the truth rise up again." That's really what the story of Asar and Aser was about. Asar and Aset was about. The Assyrian drama was about how truth was broken down and scattered throughout the planet. And Aset or Isis searched for the truth and put it all back together again. And truth rose up, the resurrection of Aser, and brought justice to the world by having Aser's son, Haru, on the throne. Right now, who do we have on the throne? We have Set, and Set is evil. But we know that the reason that Set is there is to show us how to use our spiritual power, to show us how to grow. Because without Set, we wouldn't know what good is. Without the bad, how do you know what good is? Without hot, how do you know what cold is? Without male, how do you know what female is? You understand? We look at complementary elements. So anyway, thank you all. This is Kasank Ma'at Keparu, son of Ma'at and Chivity. Ma'at is the beautiful goddess of the Ru. Until my next video, I'm in Ra.